Hi, this is April with Reprogram Yourself, and I am recording today from my home office. And that is relevant because I just had a plumber come out. There was a leak under my sink, and as anybody knows who has dealt with any kind of water leak, the concern is always damage. And then who do I call? Is it going to be a plumber? Is it going to be a handyman? Whatever it is. So there was the leak. We ended up turning off the hot water because we determined that that's where the leak was coming from and haven't been able to use the dishwasher or the hot water for a couple of days. And so in a room or a house full of young men, it's been a bit challenging. But the point of this is the plumber comes out, wonderful person, amazing at their job, looks through everything, does the diagnostics, and doesn't find anything at all. There's no leak there. And there are many reasons why this can happen, right? But I put off calling the plumber probably for a day or a day and a half longer than I needed to. And most of it was, okay, I got to get the right person. But also it was just kind of the stress of, oh, who is the right person to call? What's all of the damage that's going to happen? The particle board under is going to have to be replaced. The flooring might have to be replaced. Logistics, all of these things in my head. And as I was going through, it was just, budgeting for this potential issue. I finally got to the place where it was just like, okay, look, if $3,000 is going to be the thing, then I'll be happy with that. So I was going through the whole thing in my head and saying, what if this, what if this, what if this? Here's this cost, here's this cost, here's this cost. And all the while, I could feel it in my neck and my back and my whole entire nervous system. And so the plumber comes out and doesn't find anything. And so I think what probably happened was there was a loose nut and we ended up tightening it inadvertently when we were turning off the hot water, also going through and tightening up the nuts, which is, like a standard thing that you would do if you find a leak. So I think that that was the fix. However, I spent a couple of days having all of this stress of the what if this, and here's the scenario, and here's the scenario. And I think it's important because I think as humans, we do that all the time, right? We have a situation, something that's bothering us. And a lot of the times it's communication with the people in our lives. And maybe we put off that communication or we're not as direct as we could be in the communication, right? So it ends up being this really stressful thing that it doesn't have to be. So this is encouragement today to take a lesson from my story, my plumbing story. And it is understanding that that stress that you have, that thing that you are building, you're building this bigger scenario that probably isn't even accurate in the times where you're having those anxious feelings, but you're not able to address it appropriately, whether it be through communication with those who have the relationships in your life or, you know, going to the doctor, getting a physical, addressing anxiety or stress that you have in your life on a mental and emotional level, maybe not taking care of yourself physically, going to the gym, eating the right things, those kinds of things, when we're not doing them because we're scared of what's happening right now, we end up making the situation a little bit worse, right? We end up making it this big story, or we build an environment where our body can't easily heal itself. And so this is just an example of make sure you address those things in your life that come up. You're probably making them worse in your head than they actually are. Thanks for listening to my little story, but I hope it helps in some way. It definitely has helped me.